Andersen, the World Bank has recently added to its goal of ending absolute poverty the idea that prosperity needs to be shared. How do these twin goals translate into new approaches to transportation lending, particularly in the MENA region?
Thank you. And thanks very much for having me. I think the two twin goals that we're dealing with and that we recently defined are very important. They help us in a way tap into the very DNA of our institution. Looking at, on the one hand, ending poverty, extreme poverty, and at the same time boosting shared prosperity, which we define as increasing the income of the bottom 40%. So this is very important. So then we ask, well, what does that then mean? Well, when we look today in rural communities or in poor countries across the world, 1.2 billion people live without access to all-weather road. And that has huge and significant impacts on everything. On the ability to access markets, on the ability of kids to get to school, on the ability of pregnant women to get to clinics, on the ability of services and goods to move. So what we're trying to do is very much in the road sector, in the water sector, in all other sectors, try to identify what is it that we can do that will deal with ending extreme poverty, what is it that can release growth, and what is it that can increase shared prosperity.
Well, quite clearly related to this objective, as you know, the region and indeed the world as a whole are working towards a 2020 target of saving 5 million lives under the UN Decade of Action for Road Safety. Well, what can a development organisation like the World Bank do to promote programmes that save lives on roads?
Well, I mean, the statistics are stark, and you know them as well as I. But when we look at the kind of numbers that are tragically lost in fatalities, it's just an unacceptable situation. In the MENA region where I work, we're talking about 380,000 people possibly over a decade of death. This is completely unacceptable and absolutely tragic. Plus, of course, the millions of people who are injured in accidents. So then you ask, what can we do? Well, first of all, we need to ensure that there's much greater awareness around driver's safety. But we also need to ensure that roads are constructed in such a manner that there are pull-offs, that there are crossings, that there are safety markings, that there are speed limits, etc., as well to ensure that there is enforcement. It's not enough just to have it, but also to ensure a culture of enforcement and taking care of fines, etc. Many countries actually beginning with working with the big truckers, big transport operators is important. Working with bus operators in city settings, working with taxi operators, those that put big bulk traffic on the roads, whether it be urban or highways. And then, of course, through driver education, etc. And so that's very much what we're trying to do. In Iraq, for example, we've just working towards the finalization, and hopefully later in December we should be approving a fairly large project, North-South Highway. And this is an important project not only because it will allow goods and people to move, etc., but also because as part of this program we are integrating a road safety component. We've done it in Africa, we've done it in Argentina, we've done it in many countries across the world. And what we see with these kind of investments, and when they come into place, then fatalities go down.
Perfect. Well, of course, in addition to the goal of safer roads, the IRF shares the World Bank's goals of achieving clean and sustainable transport. What messages can you share with the sector, with our members, on making road transport more sustainable?
Well, when we look at transport today, what we're seeing is congestion, we're seeing time wasted, we're seeing large loads of emissions, CO2 emissions, which obviously have global impacts on climate change. And so dealing with the CO2 emissions, dealing with smoother flow will obviously reduce congestion. And so that transport planning and infrastructure development that can sustain the traffic load is critical. But equally important, frankly, is also the local air pollution issues. We have all visited cities around the world, mega cities, sat in transport and feel it in our lungs once we, at the end of the day, go home. We maybe visit one day or two, but children grow up in these countries, in these cities, and that's many of these cities across the world with very high local pollution loads. We see high incidences of asthma, high incidences of bronchitis, things of this nature. So there are also health impacts that shave off digits, if you like, of the global, of the overall well-being of citizens, as well as, of course, has the individual human health impact. So dealing with congestion, dealing with cleaner transport, obviously the campaign to take lead out of gasoline has been successful to a large extent across the world, but that's only the first step. Cleaner burning engines, as well as a good transport system that can facilitate flow, is critical. And we are stepping up in this regard across the world, together with many other partners. And we know that IRF is really pushing this agenda too. So it's very much a partnership here, I would say.
Well, actually, just on this topic, how can an organisation such as ours, which bridges all the actors of the road sector and places great emphasis on the idea of knowledge transfer and capacity building, how can we help you in supporting these objectives?
Well, you're absolutely critical. In fact, the IRF is a unique institution. It's a respected institution. It brings together everybody from across the industry. It brings together the urban planners, the politicians, the policymakers, the construction industry, the road transport lobby, across the industry. And so by creating a platform which the IRF holds, and by engaging in a dialogue, which you are doing through this conference now, and through the series of conferences that you have every 3 years or so, it's absolutely critical. For us, it's a fantastic opportunity. I've looked at the program and I can see the kind of seminars that are taking place. And this is exactly where awareness is created, but also where knowledge is transferred between various pieces to the road sector, various pieces to the transport sector. Because each party in the transport community holds part of the key. And so beginning to have these deeper conversations and a deeper awareness of what it'll take in an integrated manner to make those shifts irreversibly, so that together we can get to a road sector that is clean, that is affordable, and that is sustainably, environmentally speaking, and that is safe. That's absolutely critical. And I think this is where the partnership comes in.